Senso, live your life. Let Senso watch the rest.
Senso's purpose is to empower the average citizen when it comes to navigating their financial lives.
I think it's very important to understand that the economical shift that we're living is unprecedented. I think everybody sees that. I think that the old playbook is dead and there's an existing knowledge gap. And I think Senso brings this capacity to the average citizen. Traditional structure will not be able to distribute this knowledge across society. We know this. And we know that wealth managers might not be interested in actually serving the whole population for this purpose.
Yeah, I use this analogy of leaky bucket because I think it's very powerful in a visual way. So think about your wealth or your finances as a bucket. Yes, you can focus a lot on how much you pour into it, that's great. But if you haven't kind of built a foundation right, it will all be eroding. That's what we're seeing with also people when they go up in income. Often we see, let's say, lifestyle inflation. So even though they double their salary, they don't have less stress. Actually, sometimes even more stress because they are not really thinking about the foundation.
Financial control is life control. Why? Because if you think about it, the grade of opportunity and the grade of freedom of choice is very highly tied to your economical capacity.
For Senso is that you weren't really sure about what you were paying for different things. Tax inefficiency is one of those holes in the bucket. Hidden fees from funds. And most people, they see the headline. They see maybe one direct fee or one line item. But what they don't see is what's called the embedded cost, or the hidden fees, diligently designed by the financial institutions. So the user are not really realizing those losses, those holes in the bucket before many years after. I tried that myself. When I was a customer of a bank, I didn't know about these leaky bucket and those hidden fees before years later. Each of those, when it compounds over years, it becomes a significant amount. I was always struck by the fact that we are not taught really anything about personal finances, household budgeting, taxes, and how to navigate our personal finances throughout lives. And it's very interesting if you think of it, because no matter what you decide to do after school, whether you become a plumber or a consultant or an artist, there's one topic that we're all going to have to deal with one way or the other, and that is our personal finances. Well, I actually think the traditional industry has spoken in a language that has been purposely very difficult to understand for average citizens. So with Senso, you don't need a financial background. You don't need to be good at Excel, because it's all built in a way that ordinary citizens understand it in plain language, right? So it will copy and mirror the way that you speak to it, and it will break down very complex topics into very concrete and digestible topics. There should be a middle way between the 100% delegating it to your banks and others at a high fee versus the do-it-yourself route 100%. And that's why we wanted to start Senso. It's that middle way that takes the average citizen by hand and coaching them in how to navigate their financial lives.
I think that as a father, it brings much more clarity on making this scenario in my head of I'll be able to provide to my family.
Life, as you get older, gets more complex. You add kids, your career might be more demanding, you might be buying a house and other things that means you just have more fixed costs. Also a little bit around what makes you sleep good at night. Some people want to have extra safety buffer, knowing that no matter what happens, they still have X and they're good. Others are more risk takers. Again, every investment is personal. Every decision when it comes to your finances is personal. So you have to first start asking yourself why, and doing that sparring with Senso's behavioral agent on what am I trying to achieve and what risk can I take to get what reward.
And the only thing that I can do now is run all these what-if scenarios, right? And Senso helps me do that, helps me sleep well at night in that sense. And I think that this is what I owe to my kids as well, right? To at least take control of my finances and unit economics in my family in order to sustain as long as I can and up until an age that they are able to walk the path themselves.
Before Senso, I was managing everything in a Frankenstein spreadsheet. Every year it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the mental load of having to update it also just became like one of those things that you keep postponing. And I knew every time I had finally gone through an hour of updating everything, it would be outdated, 2 days after. Quickly realized that there must be a smarter way where we can use technology to automate things, but not only automating it, but also making us smarter, right? So why is it me who has to go into my spreadsheet and fill in the data? Why can I not have a service where it's actually proactively aggregating all my data, reading all the macro news, and understanding still my objectives, and then serving me useful insights that are helping me live a better life?
It's been extremely rewarding to work with Senso over the last couple of months to analyze my portfolio and realize things like fee drag and be able to make some decisions based on that analysis that has improved the efficiency of my investments. By far my favorite feature is I now see Senso as my sparring partner in order to communicate, analyze, and calculate together with Senso my current situation. It knows me, it knows my preferences, it has real-time view on my accounts, and we together run what-if analysis on different scenarios and opportunities that come my way.
Exactly. A lot of people are flying blind when it comes to their finances, and I'm not just talking about their budgets and cash flow. I'm talking about everything when it comes to taxes, when it comes to spending behavior, when it comes to investments. A lot of people have financial anxiety, and I think Senso gives you back that control. It gives you the clarity, and it gives you a strategy that you can, of course, change and tweak throughout your life.
So how do you develop a better economical capacity or baseline? Is by taking control of your finances. That's why I do believe that it's so important to utilize such a tool like Senso. I spoke previously, right, about me being an entrepreneur. If I don't have that baseline, I cannot assume those risks. And moreover, now that I'm a parent, right? Because it's not just me in the race now. I have a family to take care of.
When I first signed up, it was to get an overview of my bank accounts, my investments, and my overall financial situation. I've been surprised how Senso has been able to give me advice to make the right decisions for me. More importantly, I have also made a decision in my professional life that had caused financial anxiety, but with the information and overview, thanks to Senso, I felt confidence with taking that decision to pursue a dream I have.
Yeah, I definitely believe that financial control equals to some degree more life control. In my case, if you have run various different what-if scenarios and you see that even in worst case plan, and it's actually something that you can manage, already that gives you peace.
I think that a lot of people miss this point. We had very interesting conversations at Senso about the unseen money, right? That flies away out of your pocket and you don't even realize. And it's because of tapping into these old services, so to say, which have been monetizing the lack of knowledge and awareness from their clients. And this is a fact. In previous experiences, I could see lots of clients who invested huge sums of money, and that money underperformed in comparison to other traditional financial products that were much more cheaper and costed a fraction of it. So they just not lost the opportunity of the upside that the market created for all of us, but they've also been drained from their own wealth and to the profits that those products yielded.
Most financial tools completely skip the why, the behavioral aspect, the psychology. They go straight to, let's say, very transactional what and how. The why is what Senso is building in from the day one. And that is asking the user what this specifically would mean to their lives and how it will enable their lives in a better way.
So that's why Senso, I think, is the perfect solution to bring into any household the capacity to uplift their economical and financial acumen to serve better decision-making when it comes to financial decisions at their household. But there's also something else in the picture. It's not just this economical shift. These arrives all together with the arrival of AI. These huge economical shift all together with this amazing technology. That's the key. Why we don't use this technology to bridge this gap that before it was impossible from a time perspective to resolve with the previous existing technology. And that's why at Senso we are really focusing on being able for this LLM technology to be reliable enough to be in such an important field such as finance and economics. The fact is that we are trying to resolve a problem that nobody resolved yet, right? Which is LLMs within the financial space or legal space.
I'm in a situation where I was able to do some financial investment, and not doing much, I kind of request the help of some people who knows and follow their kind of guidance for my investment. Turns out that after 5 years, I was like, okay, not so bad, but not so good either. So with Senso, we first look back and see performance of my investment over the last 5 years compared to the market. And my feeling were completely correct. My results were not good. So my idea was to use Senso as a sparring partner to see different scenarios, different kind of investment, and trying to maximize my revenue. But it's not that easy because I have a loan to value that is linked to my investment. So I want to maximize, of course, my performance, but at the same time, I want to be very cautious to keep a very high loan to value. And thanks to Senso, we managed to go through different scenarios to end up with something that I was very happy with.
Altogether with tax, which we know for a fact that these are non-deterministic machines. And Senso's job is to, let's say, correct the margin of error of these machines in order to be more or even at par of their human counterparts.
Senso, live your life. Let Senso watch the rest.